Gary Henderson, fantastic to have you, Director of IT at Millfield. Gary talks very often and interestingly around safeguarding, around cyber security, and there's a big section in the guide. But also, I'm aware, Gary, that you talk about being good enough on security and those kind of issues.
Yeah, cheers, Ty. Yes, I think being good enough. The other phrase that I've used quite a few times has been healthy paranoia. I've not managed to get through more than probably a couple of days over the last few months without hearing about a school or college or university that has been hit by a cybersecurity incident, with the ransomware being quite a common one. As such, I think it's really important that we all have to take a view of it's when these things will happen to each of us rather than if, that it's almost guaranteed. And then from there, we need to sit and look at what we're doing. I always sort of advise to take a risk-based view with everything. When looking at educational technology, all the technology, the tools we're using, there are lots and lots of benefits, but with almost every single tool, there is some risk in terms of data we're giving away, access to systems, etc. So we have to acknowledge that, and quite often we'll make decisions today, hoping that everything's going to work fine and everything will go as we want, but it may turn out in the future that a decision we've made, data we've shared, may cause an issue in the future. So one of the bits of advice I always say is to make sure we document our decision-making processes so that we can see that what decisions were made, when they were made, and why they were made. I also sort of say the importance of testing what we've done. So testing the measures we put in place. In one of the documents for the ISC, I think I wrote about five things. The healthy paranoia, accept it's going to happen. Record what we're doing. It's another 5 or 6 pack. Boost your backups. I also think it's really important, particularly with this current situation we're in. Lots of schools have engaged with new technology partners, new systems, new solutions, and I think we need to make sure that with these new partners that their approach to cybersecurity and data protection is right. And I do think going forward there may need to be a bit of a wash-up regarding data protection and cybersecurity and the decisions that have been made over the last 3 months, and whether they were the right ones or whether we need to reevaluate them or put new measures in place following what's been decided.
What do you mean by a wash-up? Do you think some decisions were perhaps made in haste? I mean, we had a question from Tony Shepherd on the Q&A earlier. That do you think that maybe schools were inverted commas forced to work with people perhaps they didn't want to, or forced to use products that they would not normally have used? There was such an intensity, wasn't there, at that time? Is that what you mean by that kind of wash-up?
Definitely. As you say, there was that intensity. There was that rush and sudden need to find remote learning solutions, to find remote working solutions. There was a need for things for solutions for which training could be quickly delivered, or solutions that were convenient and easy. And as a result, sometimes decisions may have been taken to pick products that were easy, simple, and therefore maybe didn't have cybersecurity at their core or data protection at their core. So I think once we come out of this, we will have to look back at the decisions made over the last 3-4 months and see, where some of these decisions the right ones, or some of them may need us to reevaluate where data is being stored, how it's handled, how systems integrate, etc.
I've got you, but you're not. You think it's all possible, though. You think it's all common sense. It's not something to be scared of. It's not off-putting. That's what I like about your writing. You don't scare the horses.
Well, I think, you know, I say that's why I go to healthy paranoia. I think we have to accept it's you know, it's interesting that you know, the tools give us all these benefits. There will always be risks. There is a risk crossing a road. It doesn't mean you don't cross a road. You know, we have to accept that the risk. It's the same as with teaching and learning, that trying new things, sometimes they won't work, and we have to accept that and embrace that to a certain extent. It doesn't always go correctly, but be ready for that. And obviously, the other part of that is to make sure that when we are doing new things, that we control the scope of them. So you don't start with a new EdTech tool and use it across your whole school tomorrow. You might start with a pilot project, and that's how you mitigate risk.
Got you. It's just like you're running, Gary.
Well, yeah.
You have some fantastic days that you put on Twitter, and you even share some of the less fantastic running that you're doing.
Yeah, I think I'm having more of the less fantastic days at the moment. It took me a couple of months to go from couch to 5K, and only a day or two to go back to couch.